Sandra, we got a first of its kind reaction to that testimony. Nobody has asked President Biden yet about these allegations from a former Hunter Biden business associate that Hunter would call his dad, then the vice president, and put him on speakerphone to chat with his business associates. So at the conclusion of this event, I had a chance at the president's invitation, he waved us on over, to ask him. There's this testimony now where one of your son's former business associates is claiming that you were on speakerphone a lot with them, talking business. Is that what?
Never talk business to anybody. And I knew you'd have a lousy question.
Well, why is that a lousy question?
Because it's not true.
Thank you, Mr. President. And so he wanted to talk about the transition to a green economy. He did not want to talk about that, but it does now conflict with the sworn testimony of Devon Archer. Devon Archer went under oath to talk about these speakerphone calls. Some of the Democrats that came out of that room where they were listening in private said that the president was just talking about the weather, but he's saying that they didn't talk at all. Back to you.
All right, guys, so you seen that, you heard that. Peter Doocy, who is one of the only real journalists left, confronted Sleepy Joe Biden to his face about the alleged phone calls that he was on with his son, Hunter Biden, while Hunter was meeting with business partners. Now, Democrats say, look, no, you don't understand. This is not Hunter trying to sell his father's influence to foreign business partners overseas, okay, in exchange for favors and stuff like that. No, that's not what it is. Joe Biden was just talking about the weather, right? They were exchanging pleasantries, right? Because Joe Biden apparently is an international weatherman, right? Which kind of reminds me of this recent interview that Joe Biden did with a weather woman, right? A woman from the Weather Channel, in which, you know, he got caught, I think, staring at her chest, right? And decided to reach his hands out to, you know, get handsy with this woman, which is typical pervy President Joe behavior. Take a look.
Are you prepared to declare a national emergency with respect to climate change?
We've already done that. We've conserved more land. We've we've rejoined the Paris Climate Accord. We've passed a $368 billion climate control facility. We're moving. It is the existential threat to humanity.
So you've already declared that national emergency?
Well, in the practice, you got a bug on you.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. So you've already declared that national emergency?
Practically speaking, yes.
Yeah, so Pervy Joe, once again, is putting his hands on women. Now, again, some people might just say, hey, man, you're looking too much into it. He's just an old man, okay? He's just trying to be nice. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I just feel like I've seen so many videos of Joe putting his hands on women and kids, particularly young girls. I think that there's a pattern here, right? I think that we should start asking questions about Joe and his hands, okay? Because he seems to put them everywhere except on his wife, right? I'm just saying, okay? That's reserved for Kamala's husband, right? Doug, okay? Doug puts his hands on Jill more than Biden does. Right? I'm just saying. But anyways, with that being said, Joe Biden, okay, again, he should be worried. He should be worried because Republicans are at least threatening to impeach him, okay? They're threatening to move forward with impeachment proceedings as more and more evidence comes out of the Hunter Biden's crime family dealings overseas. Hunter Biden basically selling his father's influence to foreign business partners. We've talked about this a lot, okay? And again, we have more evidence that is coming out here as the GOP has now dropped some evidence that now is implicating Hunter Biden, right, with a staggering $20 million haul from Kazakhs, the Chinese, Russians, Romanians, and Ukrainians, which is being revealed by new bank records, right? So we're going to watch this quick video here of the Republicans kind of explaining what's going on here so you guys can get an understanding, and then we're going to read a little bit deeper into some of what was revealed by the House Oversight Committee today.
The question is, what was Hunter Biden doing to earn access to this money? Republicans on the House Oversight Committee say the new records detail a pay-to-play scheme, proof of $20 million sent to the Bidens from foreign business sources. Now, the committee says Russian, Ukrainian, and Kazakh oligarchs funneled money to companies tied to Hunter Biden. A Russian billionaire sent $3.5 million to a shell company associated with Hunter Biden business partner Devon Archer. Then Vice President Biden dined with the billionaire in Washington. Another example has Ukrainian money going to Archer and Hunter Biden. Later, Burisma put Hunter Biden on the board.
The process involved a foreign country or foreign national wiring money to a fake company. Then the fake company would then turn around and wire the money to the Biden family members. They did this to hide the source of the revenue because they weren't supposed to get money from many of these countries.
Republicans are trying to draw a line from these payments to the president.
This isn't about Hunter Biden. This is about paying to play for the Biden family because the money goes to 9 different members through shell companies, much like the informant said.
The committee says a Kazakh oligarch transferred $142,000 to Hunter Biden for a sports car. Democrats contend there's no wrongdoing by the president.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? You seen that, you heard that. Now let's get into more details about some of these new bank records because, again, apparently Joe Biden was dining with some of these foreign businessmen or oligarchs who were sending the Biden crime family millions of dollars. But again, according to Democrats, nothing to see here, right? 100% legitimate. Joe did nothing wrong, right? Nothing wrong. Okay, so let's read here. President Biden's family and their allies brought in at least $20 million from foreign sources, including first son Hunter Biden's business associates in Russia, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine, some of whom dined with the current commander-in-chief, the House Oversight Committee revealed Wednesday. Committee Chairman James Comer said Hunter Biden, now 53, appeared to deliver Russian, Kazakhstani, and Ukrainian business people access to his father, then Barack Obama's vice president, noting that each of the post-Soviet associates allegedly attended at least one of 2 dinners at Washington's Cafe Milano with the Bidens. Quote, during Joe Biden's vice presidency, Hunter Biden sold him as the brand to reap millions from oligarchs in Kazakhstan, Russia, and Ukraine. It appears no real services were provided other than access to the Biden network, including Joe Biden himself, Comer said in a statement. Yeah, again, I'm not sure exactly what services were provided, right? Again, nobody thinks it's sketchy that Hunter Biden, who has no real skills at all, right? He's getting paid millions and millions of dollars to do nothing, right? And Democrats say this is not sketchy, okay? There's no services. There's nothing exchanged. They're just sending him millions of dollars, and they're saying, oh, yeah, no, this is totally 100% legit, okay? I mean, he's selling his father like a prostitute, right? Again, he's a pimp. He's pimped out his father, okay? His father is being pimped out by his son. Again, that's what's happening here. And Hunter Biden seems to have delivered. This is made clear by meals at Cafe Milano, where then Vice President Joe Biden dined with oligarchs from around the world who had sent money to his son. He added, it's clear Joe Biden knew about his son's business dealings and allowed himself to be, quote, the brand sold to enrich the Biden family while he was vice president of the United States. Yeah, I mean, there are text messages or, messages from Hunter Biden basically talking about how, he's done everything for this family, right? Through all his business deals, okay, he set his family up for life. He's paid all their bills, right? Through, again, prostituting out his father, right, for money. Again, it's so obvious, bro. It's so obvious. This is why I'm so frustrated by the GOP. And I'm going to tell you guys why I'm frustrated by the GOP. But I'm so frustrated by Democrats continue to deny. I mean, I can't really be mad at them because that's what they're supposed to do. But it's like, bro, this is the most obvious pay-for-play scandal I've ever seen, right? If Trump's Ukraine thing was a quid pro quo, this is most definitely a quid pro quo that deserves impeachment, 100%. Bank records released by the panel confirmed that Hunter earned up to $1 million annually from Ukrainian natural gas company Burisma Holdings, beginning when his father assumed control of the Obama administration's Ukraine portfolio in 2014, and that Kazakhstani businessman Keniz Rakishev transferred $142,300 that April for Hunter to buy a luxury car, reportedly a Fisker that Hunter later traded in for a Porsche. Yeah, so again, why, right? What services did Hunter Biden provide to earn $142,300? You know, nobody can answer that question. Nobody can answer that question. The records supplement Archer's disposition to the committee July 31st, in which he revealed the flow of $3.5 million transfer on February 14, 2014 from Russian billionaire and former Moscow First Lady Yelena Baturina to the Archer and Hunter Biden controlled entity Rosemont Seneca Thornton. Rosemont Seneca Thornton in turn transferred $750,000 of Baturina's funds to Archer on March 11, 2014, and another $2,752,711 on the same day to Rosemont Seneca Bohai, an account that was opened one day prior to Baturina's $3.5 million transfer. Archer testified that Rosemont Seneca Bohai was controlled on a 50-50 basis by himself and Hunter Biden. Yeah, so you guys get the gist of what's going on here, right? The GOP has basically dropped bank statements, basically showing that Hunter Biden received all these sketchy payments, right? Transferring money between his shell companies. And now, Kevin McCarthy is demanding bank statements, right? As, they're threatening impeachment. Now, the one thing that is holding Republicans back from impeachment or the impeachment inquiry, right, launching a formal impeachment inquiry is because the so-called moderate Republicans aren't sold on it, right? They aren't sold on it, okay, because they don't think that the GOP has enough evidence yet to impeach them. And, Kevin McCarthy can't just launch an impeachment inquiry without enough votes from Republicans, or else the whole thing will fall apart. And basically that would give the mainstream level media all of the fuel that they need to say that, oh, well, this is all made up, it's not true, blah, 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 and to defend their Lord and Savior, Joe Biden.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is now demanding that President Biden hand over his bank statements, as more on Capitol Hill are calling for an impeachment inquiry of the president. Here's the House Speaker on Fox News this week.
I think there's enough proof out there that this Biden family needs to come forward and show there wasn't a pay to play. America deserves more, and Americans want to know. When you move to an impeachment inquiry, it empowers Congress, Republicans and Democrats, within their subpoena to be able to get the answers they need. Because we have found time and again, we haven't seen anything like this since the Nixon administration, using their government to shut down any time we had a question. I would think the Biden family would want to clear their name.
Well, meanwhile, the White House is now accusing McCarthy of repeatedly lying. A spokesperson writes this: Speaker McCarthy has decided the truth should not get in the way of his and House Republicans' relentless efforts to smear the president. They are prioritizing their own extreme far-right political agenda, according to the White House, at the expense of focusing on what really matters to the American people. Jonathan, what's your reaction to this? Because I would argue what matters to the American people is understanding whether or not there's corruption, but also things like inflation.
Absolutely.
And we're not hearing anything about that from Biden either. He wants to continue spending money.
Absolutely. And, I mean, that's all he's going to say. I mean, crickets from the left, crickets from Biden. Also, to attack someone's credibility, to suggest that Speaker Kevin McCarthy is a liar because he's simply voicing his opinion about the president. I think there's this sort of culture you're seeing from the White House increasingly targeting people who are speaking the truth about their administration, speaking truth to power. And I think it's critical and it's borderline tyrannical. Every time someone tries to step up and say something from your political opponents, you try to take them out of the game altogether, either by accusing the former president of treason, a crime worthy of death, by the way, in this country, unprecedented, or deciding that Speaker Kevin McCarthy is a liar because he speaks his mind.
Yeah, I have not heard the word treason in terms of a charge on President Biden, by the way.
On former President Trump.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Trump is now facing 3 indictments, and what Speaker McCarthy is saying is the fact that this is a distraction. But very aggressive of the White House to call McCarthy a liar in the face of all of these bank statements that we've been getting.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? What Republicans need, I think, to actually have the smoking gun, right? If people aren't convinced already, which I think is obvious what's going on here. I mean, it is super obvious. Just use your common sense. They need Biden's bank statement. Like, they need concrete, solid evidence that Biden received funds, okay, as a result of Hunter Biden's business deals. And they need access to Joe Biden's bank statements in order to prove that, right? Now, again, you know, what's funny about this is that maybe they need the impeachment inquiry to actually get that information, right? Maybe that is what they need. However, again, you have Republicans in swing districts standing in the way because they're afraid that launching an impeachment inquiry against Biden is going to affect their races, right? It's going to make it harder for them to win. And again, that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats don't need evidence, right? They don't need evidence, okay? They don't need to have a, slam dunk case to impeach Trump. They're just going to do it anyways, right? And all these so-called moderate Democrats in these swing districts, they're going to get on board with it because that's the Democrat agenda, right? Again, and that is just true for all of the Democrats. And again, whatever they want to do, that's radical, right? All of the moderate Democrats get on board with it. They rarely ever vote against it, even though it's radical. That's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Republicans actually disagree with each other on things, and they, don't just vote in lockstep. Democrats, on the other hand, they go along with the most extreme agenda of the Democrat Party. They don't care about it being an obvious political witch hunt against their opponent. They're going to go along with it, right? Because they all just hate Trump, okay? But Republicans, on the other hand, have a hard time being together on stuff and going after Biden the same way that Democrats are together in terms of going after Trump. And that's why you're not seeing the impeachment move forward as quickly as we like to, despite the fact that, again, it's obvious that, Joe Biden is guilty. But, hey, it is what it is. I mean, we'll see, right? We'll see if Kevin McCarthy can rally the votes needed to actually move forward this impeachment inquiry, because if he fails, then, again, that's going to be all the fuel that the mainstream liberal media and the Biden administration needs to say, look, see, this is proof and evidence that the Republicans were lying, right? They were making all this stuff up on Biden. It's a conspiracy. And that's the last thing that we need at this point, okay? It is do or die, right? He has to get these so-called moderate Republicans on board, or else, again, we're done, right? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.